We often underestimate the power of a simple act of kindness. We might think that our small gestures don't matter, that they won't make a difference in this vast world. But what if I told you that every kind act you do has the potential to change the world? Every single act of kindness can create a ripple effect, touching the lives of many and eventually coming back to us when we least expect it. So, hello and welcome to Way to Enlightenment. Today I'm going to share with you a story of a humble fisherman whose simple act of compassion set off a chain of events that transformed the lives of many. So, let's start the story. In a serene village by the sea, there lived a fisherman named Sam. He was not rich or powerful. He lived a simple life, making just enough to get by. But despite his hardships, he was known throughout the village for his big heart. He believed that kindness was the greatest treasure one could give, even though his own life was filled with struggles. Every day, he would rise before dawn and set out in his small boat, casting his nets into the sea with the hope of catching enough fish to sell at the market. Life was tough, but Sam found peace in the rhythm of the waves, the smell of the salty sea air, and the satisfaction of an honest work. One day, as Sam was pulling in his net, he noticed something unusual. There, struggling in the water, was a small bird. It was weak, barely able to keep its head above the waves. Without a second thought, he reached out and carefully lifted the bird into his hands. It was cold and shivering, too exhausted to fly. His heart filled with compassion. He knew that this little bird wouldn't survive much longer if left on its own. So instead of continuing his fishing, he turned his boat toward the shore and headed home. When he arrived, he gently placed the bird in a soft bed of straw and fed it small bits of fish. He took care of it as if it were his own child, nursing it back to health. Days passed, and the bird grew stronger. Every morning, he would open the window to let in the fresh sea breeze. One day, the bird, now full of life, spread its wings and flew out into the sky. He watched it disappear into the horizon, a smile on his face, knowing that he had done something good. He returned to his daily routine of fishing, content with the thought that he had saved a life. But little did he know that this simple act of kindness was just the beginning of something much greater. A few weeks later, as Sam was bringing his boat ashore, he noticed a man sitting on the beach. The man looked tired and hungry. His clothes were worn, and his eyes were filled with desperation. Sam, remembering the bird he had saved, felt a deep sense of empathy for the stranger. Without hesitation, Sam approached the man and offered him his catch of the day. "You look like you need this more than I do," Sam said, placing the fish into the man's hands. The man, whose name was Sean, was overwhelmed with gratitude. He had been wandering for days, searching for work, but had found nothing but closed doors and empty promises. Sam's generosity was the first kindness he had experienced in a long time. Sean thanked Sam with tears in his eyes and asked, "How can I ever repay you?" Sam simply smiled and said, "Pass it on. When you find someone in need, help them as I have helped you." Sean took these words to heart. As he continued his journey, he couldn't stop thinking about Sam's kindness. A few days later, Sean arrived in a new village and saw a merchant by the roadside. The merchant had been robbed by bandits and had lost all his goods. He was sitting in despair, with no hope left. Sean remembered Sam's words and approached the merchant. He offered him food and a place to rest, sharing what little he had. The merchant, touched by Sean's generosity, vowed to repay the kindness. He told Sean that once he regained his wealth, he would make it his mission to help others in need, just as Sean had helped him. The merchant eventually rebuilt his business and became wealthy once more. True to his word, he began helping those less fortunate, offering food, shelter, and employment to those who needed it most. One day, the merchant helped a poor person who was going through the most difficult times of financial crisis. This person was a healer, known for his ability to cure even the most stubborn illnesses. He thanked a merchant and asked, "How can I ever repay your kindness?" The merchant simply smiled and said, "If you want to repay my kindness, then pass it on." a nearby village is struck by a terrible sickness. Help and heal them. The next day, the healer arrived in the village. This is the same village where Sam was also living. Village had been struck by a terrible sickness, and many, including Sam, had fallen ill. The healer offered his services freely, asking for nothing in return. As he went from house to house, healing the sick, the healer heard stories of Sam's kindness. He learned that it was Sam who had started the chain of events that had eventually brought him to this village. Under the healer's care, Sam recovered quickly. When he was well enough, the villagers told him the story of how his simple act of kindness had come full circle, returning to him in his time of need. Sam was overwhelmed with emotion. He realized that the small, seemingly insignificant choices we make every day, choosing to help, to give, to be kind, can have far-reaching effects beyond anything we can imagine. But here's where the story takes a surprising turn. One evening, as Sam was resting, he heard a soft fluttering at his window. He opened it to find the very bird he had saved earlier. But this time, the bird wasn't alone. Behind it flew a flock of birds, each carrying a small fish in its beak. They dropped the fish at Sam's door, one by one. Sam was speechless. In that moment, Sam understood the true power of kindness. What he had given freely, without expecting anything in return, had come back to him in ways he could never have imagined. His simple act of saving a life had not only touched the lives of many, but had also come full circle, bringing him abundance and joy. So, my friends, remember this: no act of kindness is ever wasted. It may take time, and we may never see the full impact of our actions, but rest assured, every good deed we do creates ripples that spread far and wide. Like Sam, we may find that the kindness we give returns to us when we least expect it, in ways we could never have imagined. The world is in desperate need of kindness. Simple, genuine acts of compassion can change the course of someone's life. You have the power to make a difference. So start your own ripple of kindness today. Help someone in need, offer a kind word, or simply be there for someone who is struggling. Let's create a world where kindness is the norm, where each of us does our part to make life a little better for those around us. And who knows, the kindness you give today may come back to you when you need it most. If this story inspired you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with others, spread the message of kindness, and let's create a ripple effect that reaches far beyond what we can see. Hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more stories that uplift and inspire. Until next time, remember, you have the power to change the world, one small act of kindness at a time. Together, let's make the world a better place. I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.